Ironically, this is the most comfortable I've been all day.
Yeah.
Quick show of hands. Who's seen the fabulous Art of the Possible demo over with the demo booths? Who's had time to have a look? A lot of people have had a look. The bad news is there's no more breaks. Can we get an R? The worst news is the team running the demos are on their knees, they're hoarse. They'll probably be the first people at the bar. I'm lying, of course it's Nats, but they'll be second, right? The great news is they want to do it all again tomorrow, so if you're not scanning those QR codes and booking demos in, then we can't be friends. Okay, right, let's get into this session. Really delighted to be joined on stage, as Nat said, by very close collaborators around how we're bringing the advocacy journey for PUMA to life. So we've talked about the conceptual, the vision. We've had some great customers talk about some of the elements of their journey. Here we're going to focus in on a real journey end to end and how they've built up incrementally over time. So let's start with some quick introductions. Shall I go first?
Go ahead.
You're up.
I'm up. Okay, I'll start. So, hi everyone, I'm David. So I'm CRM manager for PUMA, managing all CRM for PUMA in the European market. Been at PUMA for about 3.5 years, based now out of Germany, the headquarters, but originally from the UK, as you can probably tell. Nice to be here. All
right, I'm up next. I'm Guneet Mast. I head up performance marketing and CRM for PUMA eCom Europe. Been at PUMA for a year less than David, so 2.5 years, also based out of Germany. And if you could not tell, I come from India.
I'm Ben, and I've got 2 more job title changes since that last one, so I think that tells you that they don't know what to do with me.
But it changes so regularly, Ben, to be honest.
What is it?
So I'm now something else, SVP Strategy Consulting. I was on the PUMA sales team. I've been an exec sponsor, whatever that is, for PUMA since we won them, and I'm very happy to be here to talk to all of you.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to look at the journey. We're going to do this in stages. Let's start, though. I know PUMA have a very clear vision around what an advocate is, how you think about advocacy and loyal customers. Do you want to put some colour to that, David?
Yeah, I think the thing about PUMA is we're really lucky that we've got some very loyal customers. We've got a brand that really inspires a lot of passion in people, and we've got products that people really are interested in. You know, you look at, we launched a new collection with Rihanna this weekend that's generated a lot of excitement from a lot of people. Or, you know, if you're a City fan, you're winning the treble this year in a PUMA jersey. It inspires a level of emotion and passion. Sorry, Ben. It inspires that level of passion in people. And so people are already talking about our products. They're talking about them to their friends. They're interested in them. So what we've been able to do with Mention Me is just really, I guess, take that passion and take those conversations that are already happening and turn them into actual actionable data to start with, but then equally reward the people that are having those conversations and advocating for us and pushing our brand. So we know that they're our most loyal customers, are our biggest brand advocates. So to actually be able to reward them and thank them for doing that has been really powerful for us and really supported our business.
Fantastic. Always good to hear customers speaking so well about the work that we're doing together. So we said about we're going to go through the journey. If you remember Andy's presentation from this morning, that literally was today still, just in case everyone's moved on. And at the end, he had the 4 blocks, the growth blocks. We look at that as an advocacy journey. It's a journey that we deliberately take our clients along to build incrementally and keep delivering that value based on those increments. So, David, let's start at the beginning. Why Mention Me and why referral as you got onto the start of that advocacy journey?
Yeah, sure. So I think if you rewind back 2.5 years, we kind of set ourselves 2 main objectives within the CRM program, and they're actually the same objectives that were up on the screen earlier. That looked very, very familiar. So essentially we said we want to grow the customer lifetime value of our existing customers, so really push to get those 2nd, 3rd, 4th purchases from the customers who have signed up to our database, and then grow our database, get more customers in, begin those conversations, and start to build that affinity with our customers. And we were looking for MarTech vendors who could help with both of those objectives, and I guess Mention Me kind of fitted the bill perfectly for us. So yeah, we reached out, liked the proposition, I guess, so we started working together and started the implementation, and I think went very, very quickly. I think about 4 weeks for implementation, so really, really smooth and simple.
Can you talk a little bit more about that early experience, that onboarding, potentially some of the results that you saw?
Yeah, onboarding was really smooth, really simple, as I said, and then I think the first few months were really about testing and optimization. So we did a lot of A/B testing to really kind of understand what resonated with our customers. So everything from the promo, the messaging, the creative, and we found that could not only optimize our program overall, but different markets were actually reacting differently to different messaging. It's funny, I think someone said earlier about the give versus get messaging. We did that test as well, and what we found was, I think Germany responded really well to a give message, but Brits wanted a get message. I thought that was quite an interesting insight into my new and my adopted homeland. But yeah, so that was really great that we were able to optimize the program through doing all of that testing. And we also try to really push it amongst our existing customers. So regular newsletters, regularly pushing the program out. Getting people onto the landing pages, those personalized reward referral landing pages that Mention Me run, and really try and get more and more people into the program and get them referring. And we saw some really good results in the first few months. I think within this kind of 4 to 6 months mark, we were seeing kind of triple digit growth amongst number of people coming in to refer. So really good start.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think, you know, there's a lot of talk around the culture, and I think you adopted the culture very early, right? So you really went for it and thought, how do we optimize it? I also noticed in the stay standing up game that you two were literally there for the penultimate stay stood up. So it shows next year we get you stood up all the way through. Okay, so you're off doing this, David, with the team. Ganeet, you're managing the team, competing priorities, lots of noise that you've got to focus on. How much of an overhead was it for Puma?
Honestly, it was a very straightforward process to work with the customer success manager on a regular basis. So overall, I think, as you would definitely know, that Mention Me already has pretty good inbuilt capabilities to optimize the performance. So all we needed to do was to have regular catch-ups with the customer success manager to review the performance, and as David said, to do a lot of testing, build hypotheses, to test different things and then hopefully prove or disapprove against those hypotheses. So yes, there was work on our side, as we would expect, especially in the initial stages of the partnership, but certainly not a significant overhead.
Excellent. So as Jem said, start now then, is what I'm hearing. There's no barriers, right? We might as well get going. The results are great. The onboarding's smooth. Brilliant. Okay. Let's kind of go a little bit further. What's next? What happened next, Ganeet? What was the next phase that you went into?
I think, like David already mentioned, that initially it was a slow start. It was just getting onboarded. It was understanding what we could even test with, whether it's messaging, is it promotions, is it tone of voice, is it give versus get. When that came up earlier, we were exchanging smiles like, you've been there, done that. But, and then it started to escalate maybe after the 6-month period. I think maybe David can elaborate a little bit more on that, on how that phasing went.
Yeah, I think one thing we were really keen on was that it really kind of integrated with everything else we were doing from a CRM messaging perspective. So one thing we were finding was that a lot of the people who were referring weren't in our newsletter database to start with. So we made sure that we could get the connection with Emarsys up and running and make sure that all of that data, we were getting people signed up, we were putting the opt-in messaging as part of the journey and getting that first-party data into Emarsys so we could start to build those conversations with our customers. And I think the other thing that we really started to push with was, when we talk about Emarsys, was Emarsys has a lot of the sort of tactical, out-of-the-box automation journeys that can connect with Mention Me. So we were able to really start to talk to our customers quite consistently. And you know, if a customer has referred a friend, that friend hasn't actually bought, we could send reminder automation emails. We could push people who were very heavy referrers to refer again and start to grow that pot as much as possible. So I think that integration, getting that data into Emarsys allowed us to do a lot more and make it part of our CRM communication strategy rather than a separate program.
Excellent. So you covered the first block on that journey in the first kind of 3 to 6 months, highly optimized, highly performant referral program. Then you moved into that next stage, the full integration. I mean, you mentioned Emarsys. I've genuinely never heard Ben this quiet, so it would be remiss to not bring Ben in at this point, right? So
doing this.
I'm hoping you know something about Emarsys, Ben, and perhaps you want to share the value proposition.
Oh, I'll try. I keep looking at my shoes thinking they're not Puma. And hoping David will forgive me. It's also interesting for me, because I've been at Emarsys for about 6 years, so we were where you were 6 years ago, so we were the kind of, we were fast and agile, and now suddenly we don't feel like we are. We're talking about we're this grey bit in the background that does all the magic across the life cycle. And we're not that really, we're still pretty agile, so we're a marketing automation platform with a very powerful personalization engine that sits within it. That's a lot of jargon. But what that means is that we're able to touch all of the consumers everywhere they are across the life cycle on all the channels, right? Blah, 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 blah. The clever bit is that we surface two things. We surface a lot of insights. So you talk a lot about AOV, CLTV, all of that good stuff, last purchase. We give all of that insight as part of the platform. But we all have a huge amount of data available to us, and the challenging bit is what do we do with the data once we've gone, oh yeah, that's really interesting. The second part we do is we create out-of-the-box tactics which allow you to act on the insights that you've seen. And that's what David's referring to, and that's the integration with Mention Me. So it's very natural for us to integrate with Mention Me because we look at it from acquisition through to advocacy when we do our discovery, and Mention Me sit in that advocacy area. So you're able to straight away see an insight, click on the tactic, get moving with it. Yep. And that's really powerful for the customers and the marketers that want to get moving.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think from our perspective, it was always about time to value, right? How can we improve that? And we're very fortunate at Mention Me. We have a fabulous partner team. You've seen some of the people up here hosting and hopefully get to talk to them. So we got very, very quickly into that depth of integration that we needed to kind of bring that time to value to the table. How do you see then the potential evolution of this joint value prop then with Mention Me?
I just think it gets better and better. So when I sat and I was at an event last week, it was an SAP event, and I listened to Kat, I can't see her, do a really compelling pitch on Mention Me. And as you're looking at layering on that additional information about not just the metrics we use, what did you purchase, when did you purchase, how much have you purchased, how long did it take you to purchase, are you engaging? But the more meaningful, I hope this never gets shown to Emarsys, the more meaningful metrics about did you refer, did you recommend, you don't recommend the babysitter that nearly burnt the house down. So there's a meaningful component to the metrics that you're providing. And our more advanced clients, dare I say PUMA being one of them, are invested in really finding out what is that super segment and how do we treat that super segment and are we right to be dealing with them. David says they're not even on our newsletter list, and yet these are the most highly valued customers we've got. So if you're into that retention marketing piece and you're actually focused on who is a good customer, then Mention Me just nails that for us. So it's a very natural integration for us to have strategically, and technically it's very straightforward for us as well.
Yeah, excellent, fantastic. Okay, let's get back to the advocacy journey, the PUMA advocacy journey. We kind of covered the second block, we're moving into the third block, and I know you guys have done quite a lot. Do you want to share a little bit more about some of the things that you've done and how you've started to segment and action some of those advocacy insights?
Sure. So yes, absolutely, we've done a lot since then, since we've launched 2 years ago. We've, of course, integrated the referral data into Emarsys, which has helped us to be better with the segmentation for our marketing communication, of course. It has also helped us immensely to understand who our brand advocates and loyal customers are. So, of course, having the referral data means that we can maybe do some clever things, such as removing someone from the lapsed phase if the person has been referring, might not have been buying himself or herself, or elevating someone to the VIP segment if the ECR is high. So all in all, I would say it's been a real eye-opener to understand who our most loyal, I would say most valued customers are, and how we can give them the love and attention that they deserve and act in a more customer-centric way.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I wonder if we can elaborate on the lapse piece a little bit more. It's genuinely one of my favorite examples of something really simple that you can do that changes a customer experience. How many people here have a lapsed journey or a re-engagement journey where you send those lovely "we miss you" emails? Who's going to put their hands up? Brilliant, right? So "we miss you, please come back to us." We all love receiving those, don't we? And we will action them immediately. No, we don't. Right, can you elaborate a little bit on how you look at lapsed and the difference between purchase lapse versus other now then?
think that was kind of the light bulb moment with Mention Me, to be honest, where we kind of understood that this is more than just kind of a standalone referral program, that the data that we're getting actually, as you said, helps us to identify who our loyal customers are, because we were focusing it purely on purchase and RFM, and as people have said earlier, we were focusing it purely on that. But you overlay that element of, okay, this person might not have bought for 6 months, but they've told 4 friends about their products and they brought those people in to buy. They are an active customer still. They should be considered in the same bracket as an active customer. So when you're looking at segmenting our database and looking at who should get which messages, like as Ganeet said, that customer might be lapsed if purely looking at RFM, but they're a very valuable customer, so they should be elevated into that VIP segment who's getting the special exclusive early access, special gifts, because even if they're not buying, they might be telling their friends about it, and that's still them bringing in the revenue, and it all kind of adds up, and that's the kind of big thing for me, for Mention Me, that we're getting out of the platform, and that's really elevating what we're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely an example that I love. I mean, it's just slightly disingenuous to not see someone's value outside of just their direct spend, especially if they've referred someone literally, hours ago, days ago, and then you're saying, we miss you. Well, I'm engaged with the brand. It doesn't make sense. And I think when I work with you guys and I work with our customers, the interesting piece for me is it's not necessarily about the data. We're focusing on the data about it being a building block to how you drive that action, but actually it's a CX impact. So imagine, even if it's just suppressing that one email that would have gone out to that cohort of people that were really high value, that's brilliant. You can't measure the impact of not sending one email, apart from when you take a step back and look at things like CLTV, but you're really focusing in on the CX issue there, right? Can I reduce those emails that I'm sending out on a regular basis when they're not really necessary? And that's what I really love about that example.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, what's next then? How are we going to keep building? Some of the things you've seen today, perhaps?
Yeah, I can so obviously we've talked a lot about our loyal customers, those brand advocates who we want to reward and want to refer, but I think we also have to be mindful that not everybody who visits our website is at that stage yet. And I think what we need to be doing next, and what we've started doing and started testing recently, is bringing in that propensity to refer element modeling that Mention Me gives us. So somebody who has a low propensity to refer, it might not make sense at that stage to push a referral message. So we might put them into more of a lead nurture or a sign-up message, or push a customer review option, or something that can maybe still engage them, but referral isn't the right message at that point. Or it could even be that they have a kind of medium to high propensity to refer, so that affects the promo that we might give them. We might slightly lower or higher it depending on where they sit on that scale. So I think that's kind of where we're taking it next, and we're still at early stages of that, so no results, but I think it's moving definitely in the right direction.
So when you're thinking about that journey, you're kind of going into that last column and you're thinking about the folks that don't have an ECR value, that are currently just not engaged in referral, and how you keep nurture those.
What do we do with them? What messages do we push to them? How do we personalize it to them? Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic. So a lot of growth to come. Ben?
Can I ask a question that we didn't talk about before?
Of course.
Are you seeing a better or a less reliance on discount for those that are referring in? Are you able to measure that?
To an extent. I mean, we can see those customers with a high high ECR. We're putting them into very specific segments that we might not push
any
discount messaging to, that otherwise we would have pushed that messaging to, for instance. Yeah, that's definitely. We're definitely kind of looking at those. What are those segments? Who gets the discount? Who doesn't get the discount? Customers who would have maybe been in the discount segment aren't going in there anymore, because we can see that because we're adding on that layer, that extended lifetime value layer.
It's one of the things I remember.
It's one of the factors that would have impact where you'd be, and it definitely starts making a difference there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Ben,
yeah,
what's next with the integrations? How are you thinking about the evolution of our partnership?
So I think the discount piece and the loyalty piece for us, so we have a loyalty product, and we're looking at how that connects to other loyalty products as well.
Yep.
So there's a huge online, offline play for us at the moment as well with mobile wallet, and we're looking at how all of those things come together for us at the moment. The discount question, I brought it up not because it's a hot topic across the board, but it was a very hot topic when we were talking to PUMA way back, which was we need to try and move beyond discount as a trigger to drive engagement and purchase, which is why I asked the question. So I think that data that you're providing and how we can give measurable data, not numbers that we make up on the fly, about how that discount is, how we're actually weaning a lot of these CRM programs off discount, because we all know that they're still hugely reliant on, do you want 10% off? Do you want 20% off? And if we can row back from that, I think that's extremely powerful. So that's an area that I'm interested in. Loyalty as a topic is huge. It is for us, and it is when you talk about it in general. But how loyalty, advocacy, and works together where we are, I think, is the next stage.
That intersection.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, very much.
Yeah, definitely. And I know we're excited from a product level about for getting into that as well.
Yeah, and I think the way the tactics are integrating now, I mean, I'm famous for not spending much time in the platform. Any of the guys that work with me know this. But the way that they're working now is it's actually impressive. I mean, we're talking like minutes and 20 minutes, and listening to Michelle talking about it, it's fast. Yeah. And it's not just us sort of selling snake oil. People are actually getting these up and running super quick. And I think that for me is, I hate using the word exciting. It's interesting that we're managing to do that.
Fantastic. More to come on the integrations then.
Yeah, for sure.
David and Ganeet, we keep going through the advocacy journey, and that's going to keep growing. We've talked a lot about the steps of how you got there. Do you have any particular insights as to some of that value that you've taken from it, perhaps without giving away too many secrets, in case anyone's here from Adidas? But how do you look at the overall value of the program?
I think for me, it's moved from when we signed up with you, it was a referral. Okay, we're going to have a referral program. That's great. That's going to help us get some more customers come back. It's going to get more customers in. Where it's evolved is that data that you're providing us is making such a difference to our complete communication strategy with our customers. And I think and it's the link into the fact that data sits in Emarsys. I think that after this session last year, we spoke and you introduced us to the ECR model, and I said, looks absolutely fantastic, but sat in the Mention Me platform, I can't do much with it. It needs to be in our CRM platform where we're actually sending those communications so we can use it, we can segment it, and now we're getting all of that data into Emarsys. We're using it as part of our segmentation. We're using it in terms of what we send to customers when, and it's just helping grow the whole CRM program, and I think it's making a massive difference to everything that we're doing from a CRM perspective.
Yeah, we shouldn't say it too loud, but our product team definitely delivered there, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely.
You were loud enough.
Yeah. They hear me.
Yeah.
Just the once.
The mic, it's because of the mic that gave away.
The mic, yeah, we'll do it every time. Building on that, though, because you talked about it's changing the way that you communicate. Sorry, everyone, this is completely unscripted, but I get quite into this. How do you even hypothesize? Well, you've got all this data, you've got loads of attributes. How are you thinking? How are you building the hypotheses as to, can we tweak this segment? Can we add that segment? Is that an ongoing piece then?
It's ongoing, and it's based on a lot of testing and optimization. I think we're looking at, as we said earlier, we start to think about this customers. If we've got our sort of database split into, these are our high-value customers, these are our middle, these are our switched off, we need to nurture them, but we need to not harass them too much base, then it starts to move people around as to where they sit, because we're not just basing it purely on purchase history or engagement history. We're adding this layer that says this customer is talking to their friends about us. That's such a powerful thing for a brand that we want them in, so we should be talking to them in a different way. As you said, we shouldn't just be pushing them discounts. We should be talking to them about our real big brand pushes, our Rihanna launches, our big sort of things, to make sure they're aware of them, and talking to them more frequently, rather than saying, oh, well, they just haven't bought for 6 months, they're clearly not interested. We should really pull back and not talk to them. We should still be talking to them, and the other way around as well. People who aren't referring, pull them back a little bit. So it just changes the way we think and adds another layer into that overall segmentation CRM strategy.
I don't think we know, as an additive metric that you're providing across the whole journey, we don't know what it does, but we know that it's going to be very interesting to see how much of a leading indicator it is, because we're constantly looking at RFM.
Yeah, exactly.
Or ERFM.
Yeah.
And that's all we've got.
Yeah.
And so to have something that's sprinkled over all of it, I don't think we know what that looks like yet. But the integration that we're running is going to show us that. And if we're here next year, and I'll have another title, right, then we should be able to talk about that better than this advocacy stage only. What have we done? How's it impacted across the rest of the life cycle? Because that, for me, is very interesting.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we're starting to see some very clear macro data points.
Yeah.
56% higher customer lifetime value for the high ECR customers is a massive metric. We're seeing things like 3x times engagement when you send an email, 300% extra click-through rates in those emails.
Where do we push it elsewhere?
But I think those data points are going to keep coming because, and this is why I was asking about how you think about the communication strategy, because it's so open-ended. There's so much you can keep doing, and customer behaviors change, so you're staying on top of that all the time.
But it's so particular to the type of business that you're giving it to, and I think that's where it's very different to ERFM. So depending on the type of customer, it's going to respond very differently depending on what that customer type is. I think it's effective across the board, but I think it's going to have strengths and weaknesses across the life cycle depending on who you are as a customer, what vertical you're sitting in, what you're selling, what the sales cycle is, etc.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, we're bringing that to a close. Thank you very much, my guests. Please give them a round of applause.